My dog is deadlier than this duck. Actually, my old dog would have kicked this duck's ass. The new one would have probably just licked the beak off. Probably because it's the closest thing to a nose that the duck has. And yeah, anyways. Look out! It's Deadly Duck. Released in 1982 for the Atari 2600 video computer system, developed by Ed Hodup for Sirius Software and published by 20th Century Fox. Yes, 20th Century Fox, before they were bought out by Disney, once published Atari video games in addition to making movies, but none of that matters now. In Deadly Duck, you control a duck who is defending its pond from a bunch of flying crabs who will stop at nothing to reduce the duck population of this pond to 0. They do this by dropping bricks that can not only kill your duck by crushing it from underneath, but these bricks, when they hit the water, also serves as obstacles that impede your movement, which can prove a hassle, but at the very least, you can destroy the bricks as they fall if you're lucky enough to get a clear shot in. Later waves will introduce a wall of smaller crabs who serve to block your shots and cause debris to fall down that will also kill your duck if you touch the debris. You start with 4 lives and earn an extra life with each wave of crabs cleared. The farther you progress in the game, the longer the wall of small crabs to block your shots, the more difficult it becomes to get a clear shot at the bigger crabs who are already difficult enough to shoot down with their somewhat erratic patterns. That's the general idea of Deadly Duck, and for what it's worth, there's enough here to make this a somewhat interesting concept, on paper at least, but in terms of the overall execution, it's not quite there. Deadly Duck, to its credit, controls just fine, but it's the gameplay that's somewhat flawed. Your shots move somewhat slowly, and it isn't helped by the erratic crab movements, which tends to drag things out longer than necessary. Then you added the yellow wall of blocking, which forces you to time your shots so you could get past that and try to hit these things in the air, which continue their erratic movements, which drags things out even further. And of course, there's the whole bricks blocking the way or possibly landing on your head. So you have all these elements that only serve to slow things down to a crawl, and this ultimately results in a rather dull, slow, and somewhat boring shooter. Now, fortunately, Deadly Duck is a one-player game boasting 6 levels of play, so there's no need to drag a friend into this misery and risk not having a friend after this. At the very least, Deadly Duck isn't necessarily a bad-looking game by Atari standards. You have basic-looking duck and crab sprites that somewhat resemble what they're supposed to. Your guess of what the yellow things are supposed to be, but other than that, it's a clean layout, no flicker, nothing's really broken visually. As for the sound output, it is a thing that exists. I've heard worse, but I've also heard better, so take it or leave it, I suppose. Overall, Deadly Duck on Atari 2600 is not all that good. Again, I like the general idea of the game. There's something here that maybe with a few tweaks or generally better execution could make for a fun little shooter with some added strategy and stuff. But what's on display here feels somewhat underdeveloped, and honestly, after a while, it just got a bit boring. So, yeah, not one I would recommend anyone go out of their way to play. But on the other hand, though, I've played far worse than this.